Yes, viewers, welcome again to another interesting show, and with me pale tuliwachia jana, tumerudi pale
Mm.
pale, and with my brother Ben, hata tujalala, tunazidi kuchambua siasa za Kenya na vile zinaingia ndio vile tunazitoa. So karibu sana kwa show ya leo. And
Mhm.
tuliwachana jana saa ngapi Ben? Umelala kweli ndugu yangu bana?
Unajua si lazima ulale kwa sababu
Aha.
ni lazima ufanye kazi
Mhm.
hapa ni kazi
Yeah.
tu yeah.
Hapa ni kazi tu, job.
Eh,
Wera ni wera. Wera ni wera.
eh,
Wanasema wera ni
ni wera.
teach and teach.
Yes, kazi ni kazi ama
Kazi ni kazi.
that was a slogan for the president UDA.
Aha.
Kazi ni kazi.
Kazi ni
Yeah.
kazi.
Mm.
Uwe unauza viazi pale, uwe unauza maragwe, mahindi, uwe unashona
Mm.
viatu. Hatujongea ile kiatu bwana. Mafundi wa viatu nadhani wamepata kazi sana baada ya ile advertisement ya viatu eh? Eh?
Ile iliyotokea nchini Migori,
Ile
kaunti ya Migori.
ya Migori. Huyo kijana mambo yake ilienda vipi ndugu yangu bwana?
Sija kuna nilisoma mahali kwamba aliwachiliwa huru, lakini sina hakika sana kama ni kweli, but ni jambo ambalo tunaweza fuatilia tujue amefika wapi, na labda tukipata nafasi kumuoji tusikie maoni yake na labda jambo ambalo amesoma.
Haya, Musa kile kiatu tafadhali, ile kiatu. Unakumbuka ile wimbo ya gospel na kiatu inaendaje bwana? Mimi bwana, hii ma gospel
Ile Musa
kiatu, yani ni ya
nawe
Musa, imeimbwa na nani?
hiyo kiwatu kivue ya Rose
Kiatu
Muhando.
kivue. Na
Yeah.
unakumbuka hiyo?
Vizuri, vyema.
Bila shaka hiyo ngoma tungekuwa nayo na tungekuwa na rights ya hiyo ngoma, tungeiweka hapa wasikilizaji wetu wasikie ile kiatu kivue. But anyway, tuanze show, na show ya leo ni kama kawaida vile tumeandika hapo, the government loses drastically in court of appeal. Serikali ya Ruto ilianguka juzi tarehe 9 katika ile apili ya bwana Gachagua. Now the court of appeals verdict, what next for one Gachagua? What's next for Gachagua?
There's so much for Rigathi Gachagua, and that I would say that is a reprieve. And before we look at what next for Rigathi Gachagua, maybe to bring you to context, what really the result or the pronouncement of Court of Appeal was about, because this one concerns about Rigathi Gachagua impeachment. And remember, the impeachment went through until the Senate, and there were two court orders. One of them was in Kirugoya, and I think another one was in Nairobi. One was stopping the swearing in of Kithure Kindiki. The other one was stopping the Senate to not to go ahead with the process of the process of impeachment. So there were two conservatory orders, I would say so. But now it went ahead, and the Assistant Chief Justice, that is Philomena Mwilu, was when he was confronted, because CJ was away, she decided to empanel the bench to listen to the cases or to listen to the petition that was filed by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And this one has impact on our constitution. And I would say the 2010 constitution is one of the constitution that his limits has been tested by the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. And today again, we are coming into another scenario that is going to test its limit. So Gachagua has several options. So we will discuss all those options that Gachagua have, and we also look at the implications, and we can read the article of the Constitution that gives the Chief Justice the power to empanel a bench, not the Deputy Chief Justice. So we will discuss as we move on.
All right. Good evening, Kenya, and especially to our viewers in Nairobi and Kiambu, wale wote mko Nyanza, wapi Central. Nafikiri mmefurahia sana hiyo verdict. Welcome to Africa 24, where we dissect the pulse of the nation's politics and law. I'm your host, Mzalendo, and tonight we tackle one of the most consequential rulings in the recent memory. Hii ruling ilifanyika May 9th Court of Appeal decision that completely reset Deputy Rigathi Gachagua impeachment process. With me, kama kawaida, is Brother Ben, a friend of with great value. Great value to have Brother Ben in the studio. Happy to see you, my friend Omera. What's up? What do you make of this ruling?
Okay, that's my question. First of all, I would take you through what the Constitution says, especially in what the scenario where we are, especially because the question now we are asking is that did the CJ acted out of Constitution or out of the law? And if you look at our Constitution article 165.4, it states, this is for the Kenya, any matter certified by the courts as raising substantial question of law under clause 3B or D shall be heard by an even number of judges being less than 3 assigned by the Chief Justice. Because this was a matter that was raising substantial matter, especially matters pertaining law interpretation. And when during this time the Chief Justice was out of the country, and they went ahead to the Chief Justice, like the Deputy Chief Justice, and paneled this bench, because what is in question here is about the empanelment of the bench. That is what is in question right here. Yeah, forget about the process of impeachment. First of all, we are looking at the empanelment. So the empanelment, from the verdict that is given, one, it was unconstitutional. And what does that one mean? To me, because I'm looking at it in terms of a layman, because I do not have a legal background, but I'm looking at the way I've read the Constitution, which means any process that was handled by the bench, it was unconstitutional. And what that one mean is that everything is going back to its original status. That is what I mean. So which means the conservatory orders will have to stay, the two of them. That is one. Secondly, the office that is held by the deputy president right now, is it legitimate? And if you listen to some of the legal minds, what they're saying, that the ruling did not touch the office holder or the holder of that office. So that one still begs the question, and people are still and still giving on their views on matters on this. So that is one thing that I would say is something that now we have to look at. Another thing that also we have to look at is that the deputy president, that is Honorable Kithure Kindiki, is unlawfully in office, because the bench itself, as I said earlier, is unconstitutional. So any decision that was made by the bench is unconstitutional. So those are some of the things that we have to struggle with. Then another thing is also, another thing that I wrote was some say that the process was already completed. if you listen to some of the legal minds, because like I was trying to go through some of the interpretation of the legal mind, some were arguing that this process had already been completed. Yeah. So uh, the, the pronouncement does not have so much value on it.
Oh,
So
mm-hmm,
another question also that was we are trying to raise and look here,
mm-hmm.
in the event, because Chief Justice has been given the 14 days to empanel a bench, in the event that the Chief Justice empanel the same bench, does it mean that they can go with the ruling they made earlier, or they are going to start and listen to the submissions, fresh submissions? And among, if you remember very well, among the issues that the deputy president then was raising were about the conservatory orders, because they were fighting for the conservatory orders to stay as they continue to 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 discuss about the case at that particular moment. So those are now, we want to wait for the 14 days for the Chief Justice to empanel the bench, and from there we will see where we are headed.
Yes, thank you for that breakdown. And maybe just to add that, Article 161 of the Constitution of Kenya, Article 161, which outlines the judiciary structure, and it goes all the way up to Article 168 on the procedure of removing the judge. These articles are very, very precise. And Article 161, the most important article is that the Deputy Chief Justice, who serves as the Vice President of the Supreme Court and acts as the Chief Justice, as the Chief Justice in absence, but does not inherit the authority to form the benches, the judicial benches.
Yeah.
She or he cannot form the judicial benches, even in the absence of the Chief Justice. So we have a rogue judge who went ahead and formed a judicial bench, which is unconstitutional and is not allowed by law. So here is a judge who actually should be removed from our court systems.
You,
That
you
should be
know,
the next procedure, because whatever she did, she knew
mhm,
precisely what she
mhm.
was doing. And my next question was: was she under some kind of pressure from above to constitute this bench without waiting for the judge, the Chief Justice, home?
No, I think
What was the pressure?
even if there was a pressure, when you look at how we've evolved as a country in terms of technology, because even now the filing of cases are done through the portal of the Judiciary Service Commission, where you can file these cases and you can get reply from those. So I think one of the things that they could have considered, even CJ, the deputy CJ, even though the CJ might have been outside the country, but that one did not mean that you cannot use the technology available to reach her. Yeah, because empanelment of the bench was not something that the deputy president or the CJ, the president of the Supreme Court, was going to sit down with the judges and say that it was just, he could have given directive, and this
Yes.
directive could have been given wherever she is. So and that one also questioned the CJ, the deputy CJ, when she was doing this, was she very genuine on what she's doing, or did she kind of like look at the laws and of our land and the constitution and find a loophole whereby it gives her the authority to empanel a bench when the judge or when the president of the Supreme Court is not there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we need to touch on there, and maybe
Yeah.
the JSC needs to come in and pounce on Mwilu, and they need to ask questions why this was done, and if you knew the legal implications of this, then in a country in the Western countries, you should have been resigning by now because of such kind of decision. So, or the Senate should be now telling the CJ, the deputy CJ, to resign and quit up with his position. So these are some of the things that the Kenyan law system needs to address urgently. But now this has given life to the politics of Gachagua. Is
Yeah.
he able to run again? As it is right now, there is somebody who is illegal in office.
Yeah. So, this ruling gives us two scenarios. One, yeah, it give us two scenarios of illegitimacy.
Mhm.
Who is legitimate and who is the legal, like the person who the constitution has given power to hold office. Because if the ruling was made by the judge that was in panel, and now it says that it was unconstitutional, she acted outside outside her mandate, which
Yeah.
means the whole process, to me now, what I think, this is not illegal because I don't have a legal background. This is what I think.
Hmm.
The whole process is null and void. So
So
what does it
Gachagua
mean?
technically deputy president ni Rigiji.
Yeah, because there were conservatory orders that were stopping one, the swearing in of Kithure Kindiki. And if you remember, one of the most issue that the president side were, the president and the senate were, and that is the president, the senate
Hmm.
and the national assembly were fighting. They were fighting to uplift the
Hmm.
conservatory order so that the swearing in can go on as they continue to argue the cases, which was not the case.
Hmm.
So if it was unconstitutional, so which means the two conservatory orders, I don't know whether they still stand a chance, or they have been passed by event. So those are the questions that the legal minds will answer us.
Yeah, the legal minds needs to come and tell us if you are there out there and you are listening to the show or watching the show right now. You need just to dive into the comment section on Africa and tell us what you think of Brother Ben Media, which is also live. You can also post your comment there so that we can share with other Kenyans. For us here, we are just digesting into into the ruling to see whether you understand it as the locals, as Kenyan citizen back at home,
Mhm.
uh, the implications of this ruling and how it will change our politics. One thing I said, Brother Ben,
Yeah.
and I've talked about it in many forums, I've written an article about it, that in my anticipation, this is a wild card that Ruto is about to play
Mhm.
for Raila Odinga.
Mhm.
This is card, I call it the Joker card that Ruto was holding, and maybe this whole impeachment saga and blah blah was
Yeah.
just some kind of drama that we're being taken through, and then eventually Ruto goes back to Mount Kenya and tells the mountain people that, you know what,
Mhm.
I did a mistake, nimefanya makosa, na umeangalia kama koti zetu zimeamua ni Rigiji ndio awe vice president. Mimi ni nani? Supreme Court imeshaamua. Sasa sisi kama serikali ya Bwana Ruto, wacha tutie amri ya Supreme Court, na watu wa Central, kama niliwafanyia makosa, naomba msamaha. What happens in that scenario?
No, I don't think that could be the case, or even because
Yeah.
what I think is president and his allies, especially from central Kenya, miscalculated Rigathi Gachagua, and they thought that finishing Rigathi Gachagua through impeachment was the best option. But now I feel now they are seeing the sense that they say that this was not the best option, because now even if you try to follow it right now, what they are talking about Gachagua, none of them are talking about the all the accusations that were leveled against Rigathi Gachagua.
Yeah,
They are
the
talking about
corruption. Gachagua is
the
corrupt.
corruption. The
Gachagua is a tribalist. Eh?
Yeah. No, Gachagua is only a tribalist. If you look at the politics that is going, Gachagua is only a tribalist when they are campaigning outside or they are not within the borders of Mount Kenya. That is when Gachagua is a tribalist. Because this one was displayed well with the president when he was touring Mount Kenya. At no any given point during his speeches on the Mount Kenya development tour, he mentioned the word tribal. There was no
Yeah, his choice of words. You know,
his
all
choice of
presidents
words.
have got choices of words.
The
Eh?
choice of words were very
Mm-hmm.
particular. They were geared toward development. That is one. Two, if if you notice when he went to maybe to doing tours, especially in other areas, he will go with his own brigade, like different brigade. The broad-based brigade will be there, but for the Central Kenya, it was a Central Kenya affair. Yeah, it was only
Uh,
the leaders from Central Kenya that were given opportunity
watu
to
wa
speak.
Murima.
Yeah. So that one tells you how this Gachagua impeachment is really impacting on the president. I think there was a miscalculation, and maybe they thought Rigathi Gachagua would within a period of 2 weeks he will be no more in the political landscape. Two, I told you this the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua is really now testing the elasticity of our constitution 2010. Sometimes you can make decision hurriedly to run away with them, knowing very well that okay, we have passed this event, but now it is biting back.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how within a period of four hours, the name of Kithure Kindike was already forwarded to Parliament. A
Mm-hmm.
period of 4 hours, and no, a period of 4 hours, it was approved within shortest time. And you saw how things were moving. Gazettement every time, even in the middle of the night, the gazettement was there because they were following the constitution. Now that constitution they were following now is
Uh-huh.
biting back again. He said, okay, all that the empanelment of the bench was unconstitutional. What are you going to do? So it has so many impact, especially in our country, and it tests the elasticity. How far can this constitution stretch?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
How far can this constitution stretch?
stretch. Yes.
I think you are on point. You are on point, brother Ben, and this thing was miscalculated. And I know if Ruto can walk back and say how do you let me give you a very simple analysis.
Yeah.
You are in a team, a soccer team. You have got your best team and your best striker. Yeah,
Mhm.
the best striker, and you're going for this championship match. And all of a sudden, the coach does has a problem with your Messi in the team,
Yeah.
and Messi is not going to play. This is Gashagwa now, and he is going to be kicked out of the team, or and possibly banned, and even given a red card, and he'll miss some matches. You, as the coach, you are saying, okay, fine, to well with him. Messi was so indisciplined. Let us do away with him. Then after a few matches, you lose so many games. Then all of a sudden you realize that your key your key striker needs to be back in the team. So
Mhm.
going to 2027, Ruto has simply realized that he needs the mountain in 2007, in 2027, and he
Mhm.
needs them badly because the mountain will decide who becomes the president and who is going for the opposition. If
Mhm.
they play their cards well, then they could easily be the king makers
Yeah.
in 2027. But most importantly, you realize that the mountain are not filling any potential presidential candidates towards 2027. Could this verdict be a lifeline for Gachagua to vie in 2027? Or could it be a state ploy to allow Gachagua to think that, you can easily make it and win against William Ruto if we put you on the ballot?
Okay, that is a question that we can answer after 14 days after the empanelment of the bench, and to know what is going to come on the bench that the CJ will empanel. But to look it into deeper, what they did by impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, in our constitution, this was a killing of somebody political career. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So even if you want to go and ask for forgiveness based on the fact that the way impeachment took place, the processes, and how it was like this was finishing you politically, you know. Remember the same thing that happened between President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and William Ruto. Raila came into the picture, but maybe President Uhuru Kenyatta said, okay, this is politics. I do not want to kill your political career. Let me just leave you, do you what you want to do what you want to do. Ukipenda siku moja utakuja kwa ballot box na ushinde. And he got that chance, and he vied, and luckily enough, he won the presidency. He is the president right now. But what he was doing to Gachagua, that was political elimination. Wewe utakaa nje katika siasa kwa muda mrefu, kwa sababu kulingana na process yenye umepitia ni kwamba wewe haufai kukuwa kiongozi. Tukiongelea mambo ya siasa, huyo amekumaliza kisiasa, so unapata itakuwa ni vigumu sana. Hata kama unataka kuomba msamaha, itakuwa ni vigumu. Na wakati ambapo unaomba msamaha, kuna wale ambao waliitwa kama chama cha ODM, unapata kwamba wengine walikuwa wanasema sisi hii vita haikukuwa yetu, lakini tulikuja tukaambiwa tukuje tusaidie. Baada ya kusaidia zile manyadhifa ambapo watu ambao walikuwa karibu na Rigathi Gachagua wameng'olewa, utakuja kuomba msamaha, uambie mbona uliwang'oa, mbona uliita wale watu wakaja, ikaenda pia mahali sasa wako kwa serikali, wako na usemo mkubwa zaidi kuliko hata wale ambao walipigia serikali kura. So hizo ndio swali ambao ukitaka kuomba msamaha itabidi umezijibu, alafu hapo ndo utaanza mwendo wa sasa useme kwamba utasamehewa. So itakuwa, mimi naona kama itakuwa ni vigumu. Ni ile tu sasa rais atakuwa atatafuta mbinu ambazo anaweza tumia ili apate second term, lakini kuomba msamaha naona kama haitakuwa rahisi vile.
Kwa hivyo kiongozi hawezi omba msamaha hata akifanya makosa. Viewers, subiri kidogo, wacha tuulize hawa wangwana wako nyumbani. Viewers, and thank you once again for joining Africa 24. And nimekuona pale kama kawaida Gypsy Corner. I have seen the one and only Judith Kawitha. Judith, karibu sana Africa 24. And if you have not subscribed to Africa, make sure that you guys have subscribed to Africa 24. Now we ask you, what did the Court of Appeal, why did the Court of Appeal quash this decision to impeach one Rigathi Gachagua? Guys at home, tafadhali tupatie majibu hapo, tutakujibu. We want you to stay, we want to stay engaged. Na kuna swali hapa Gypsy ameuliza on the issue of Gachagua. I don't know whether this is a question or a comment. Ebu isome kidogo.
Gachagua can run, but remember we have Matiang'i and Kalonzo in the race. Let's assume that Gachagua have the 3 million votes and Uhuru brings in Matiang'i to take 1 million. Gachagua will still need votes. Yeah, but as things stand right now, I think Gachagua also knows what is going on because he will read the moods of the people. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you feel even yourself that Gachagua has a sellability? That is something that you have to
No,
do.
beyond central Kenya,
Yes.
Gachagua cannot sell. He knows
So
that it well.
that's what I'm asking you. That sellability.
Yeah, beyond central Kenya he cannot sell, but within central Kenya ako na ushawishi mkubwa sana.
Ehe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hiyo ni jambo. So mimi kwa maoni yangu ni kwamba Gachagua haezi wania urais kwa maoni yangu, lakini atakuwa ni mtu ambaye atakuwa na ushawishi mkubwa katika hilo uchaguzi. Hata kama mahakama itampatia uhuru wa kuwania urais, sidhani kama atawania, kwa sababu hata yeye mwenyewe anajua kwa kweli kwamba idadi zake za namba, tuseme kwamba haikubalii yeye sana sana kupitia milima ya Kenya tu ndio labda anaweza kuwa na ushawishi mkubwa na wale ambao wako diaspora, you know. Lakini kwa watu wengine bado the people have not understood his kind of politics, the kind of politics that he does, you know. Yeah, so I don't, that's a liability factor. So even him, he knows, and they know if indeed they part ways with Rigathi Gachagua and Matiang'i, that is the end of it all, and that will be very good for President William Ruto. That President William Ruto will win very early in the morning.
President William Ruto will win asubuhi na mapema.
Yeah.
The way President William Ruto talks, like, unajua hata Gachagua hakuna mahali anaweza nishinda bwana. The confidence that the president has on this group, I don't know whether you've seen it or it is the fear that he has in this group, but I see a lot of confidence that he can beat this group of leaders.
The only thing that, you know, one thing that if these leaders, they want to beat President William Ruto, yeah, the interest of their coalition should supersede their own interest. Yeah, the interest of the coalition they are going to form, or the interest of loyal opposition, they call themselves loyal opposition. So if they are loyal opposition, yeah, and they are very, very determined to defeat President William Ruto, one, let me put it this way, their own interest should not supersede the interest of coalition that they are forming. Then if they do that, then I tell you.
I think one thing that this case has brought up is it has really shown us how these judicial officers can be corrupted. You know, I believe that this case was in the public domain, and Mwilu needed to have used at least some common sense to know that the implication of constituting that bench, which was way above his power. So this kind of overreach, you know, and we need accountability of some of these judges. We need her to be accountable for she needs to come out and tell us why she had to do that, or there is no way that she can come out and tell us why she had to do that, and which kind of law was she using. Ni sheria gani alitumia kuconstitute hii bench? Ni katiba gani? Kama kuna katiba ya Mwilu Philomena Mwilu na katiba yako, utuambie tafadhali, kama ulitumia katiba yako ama katiba ya kule Ukambani ukakuja nayo ukasema bana, hivi ndio sisi tunafanya kule Wakilunda.
Sasa unajua kitu bado mimi najua, unajua nchi yetu ya Kenya ni nchi ambayo inastaabisha sana, kwa sababu kuna mtu ataenda kotini to get more interpretation. Why did he have to do that? And remember, there's also this issue that is going with the Supreme Court judges that people wanted them out.
Hey, that case by Nelson Harvey and Abdul, this other lawyer that
Grand Muller.
Grand Muller. I think that lawyer. I don't know why I don't like him. I just don't like him. He has such an attitude.
I think this. I think also this ruling or the decision that Deputy CJ made, they can use it to build their case. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They can use it to build their case. So
yes.
So everything that happens, it will.
Now we believe. All of a sudden, I believe they were right.
Yeah.
They were right. They were right in everything that we were saying. Grand Muller and Nelson Harvey were very, very right in what they brought. Kenyans did not understand why these guys are bringing this this case. Yeah.
So now this one will make even people who are doubting them for pushing that narrative of removal of the high court.
I was one of them, Brother Ben. I was one of them, and I don't like Abdul Nasir, but now I think I like him, and I like Nelson Lavi. I don't like the attitude. Both of these two lawyers have got such a nut. They walk with some kind of hair like they are the only ones who can speak the Queen's English and walk with their heads up as they are most learned, while law. Unajua, I always joke with my friends who are lawyers that law can be done by anybody. Yeah, but not everybody can be a doctor, but anybody can be a lawyer. So long as you know how to argue. All right. So go ahead.
Some of the things that, especially as we look at the conduct of Deputy CJ of empanelment of the bench, which was above her or violated the constitution. Now, some of the questions that everybody should ask, and this is where now we need the legal minds. One, the decision, as I said, the decision, first, one of the conservatory orders, there are two of them. There was the Kerugoya one, and I think the one in Nairobi. So there was one that was stopping the decision of the Senate. Yeah. That is one. And there was the one that was stopping the swearing in of Honorable Kithure Kindiki. So because now that bench has been rendered unconstitutional, what is the stand of the conservatory orders that were given? Do they still stand? Yeah, that is one. Secondly, what is the position of the deputy president, the current deputy president, and the impeached deputy president? Because if the conservatory orders, let's say that we agree that the conservatory orders should stay, it means, one, the current deputy president, Honorable Kithure Kindiki, is in office illegally. Yeah, is in office illegally.
Now, another thing that you ought to know, and this is, the Senate makes political decisions.
Yeah.
Those are political decisions, and the Senate cannot interfere with a judicial decision.
Yes.
But we have seen parliament that is very rogue, and they don't respect the judicial decision.
That's why I was telling you.
That is why we need a constitutional lawyer to come and translate to us what this really mean. The political implications. of the decision
Uh-huh.
of the Senate
Mhm.
versus now the decision of the courts, or if the of the decision of the court, and what and the outcome of the three bench judge that will be constituted by the chief justice. Yeah, if it goes against the state, what does
Mhm.
this mean?
And again, if
Hmm?
to say the Chief Justice will empanel the same bench,
Hmm.
what does it mean? Does it mean that they're going to get in again and start uh, hearing the same cases again, or they will rely on the decision that they made? So there are going to be fresh arguments that are going to come. First of all, especially the legal from Rigathi Gachagua side will first of all contesting the conservatory order. Let them stay the way that was their first prayers, that the conservatory orders should stay. Is that one going? What is going to happen? And this is what I was telling you. If you look at our country, especially how we've always made decisions, especially things to do with constitutional matters, sometimes we tend to ignore, and we use the powers that we have to override the constitution to work on our advantage, but not knowing that this constitution is a grinding machine. It will come back and bite you. And I told you earlier, is also testing the elasticity of our constitution.
Now, do you think William Ruto can use this court ruling to his advantage?
In what way?
In this way? I told you and I explained to you this earlier, this way. Uh, for the coalition, for his government stability, and to get the people of when central Kenya moved out of government, or were
Mhm.
kicked out of government,
Yeah.
that that made Ruto's government a bit shaky, and that is
Yeah.
why Raila Odinga had to come in. You know that. So
Mhm.
when if to broaden is a broad-based government idea,
Mhm.
he can just bury the hatchet and bring central back and reinstate Gachagua back to his position. If the courts rules in his favor, or he can anticipate that the three bench judges are going to rule in favor of one Rigiji and move very fast, to avoid the embarrassment. Can you
You see,
imagine the embarrassment?
let me tell you some of the things. One thing that I know the president can use. The president can use this as a way of strategic for the 2027. And how is he going to use it? He's going to use it so that Rigathi Gachagua can run as a president. So
Yeah,
when Rigathi, yeah,
that is
when
another
Rigathi,
angle. But Rigathi Gachagua is smart enough to realize, okay, fine, this bait that I'm being given, it is
yeah,
something that is poisonous, and
yeah,
it might the bait that is being given, it might land him on a dinner table where you'll be slashed by one William Ruto and Raila Odinga on the other side. It could be a meal. Mm.
yeah.
If he runs for president, then he becomes a meal for William Ruto and Raila Odinga.
But that, the ruling is also a reprieve for Rigathi Gachagua, and this one can confirm, especially for political gain, yeah, that
Mm.
Rigathi Gachagua was being persecuted politically. He did
Mm.
not do anything wrong, you know, because if now the constitution and everything is not going against him, all this, the process of constitution, the process of impeachment, and how it was done. And remember something also that you also have to know: somebody will have to go to court again. And I'm telling you, watch this space. Remember, one of the issues also they were raising about Kithure Kindiki being a member of UDA. Remember, our constitution does not allow, especially the technocrats, to be member of any political party. Remember, that was contested. And when did Professor Kithure Kindiki resign as a member of UDA, yeah, before he was given the interior post, you know, because when you're being given those posts, it is it is perceived that you should not align to any political party and you should not be a member. But if you look at our constitution again, the only two offices that are working in the government, especially in the executive, that are allowed to be members of a political party, that is the president and his deputy. That's the only two people. But
Yes.
when looking at the time when he was given the deputy president,
Hmm.
when did he register back as a member of UDA? And it required you to take almost like 3 months for you to become that member. Yeah.
Now, Gypsy Corner is asking. I don't know, but this bench, this Gypsy, in my understanding, the three judge bench has not been constituted by the CJ, and it will take 14 days to be constituted. The deputy chief justice has got no mandate and cannot question what the authority of the chief justice. The chief justice will go ahead and constitute the bench, and within the 14 days we will have an outcome. That is my
And
understanding.
yeah, so this is what is. Let me answer Gibson Corner.
Hmm.
The bone of contention here is the bench that was empaneled by the deputy CJ. And if we look at in our constitution where they are citing and the article they are citing that qualifies what the deputy CJ did as unconstitutional is Article 165.4, which says Article 164 of the Kenya Constitution states that any law, including customary law, that is inconsistent with the Constitution is void to extent of the inconsistency, similar any act or omission. No, 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 no. Let me find it.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm reading four. That now I'm reading four. Sorry for that. Any matter certified by the court as raising substantial question of law under clause 3B or D shall be heard by an even number of judges, being not less than three, assigned by the chief justice. Now, where is raising substantial question under the law. So the substantial question that was being asked, especially, was, remember when the Senate was supposed to vote, or the Senate was supposed to cross-examine Rigathi Gachagua, he fell sick. Yeah, and the
Yeah,
Senate went ahead to vote in he when he was not around, or when he
and
was not.
and his lawyers walked out.
The lawyers walked out, and
Mhm. I
furthermore,
remember that
he
incident.
was sick.
Mm.
Secondly, there was still time. So that is what is raising substantial. So with that, that's why the conservatory orders, one of the conservatory orders was about the Senate. They were questioning the process of the Senate to stop the Senate from completing the process, in that Gachagua himself, the subject matter, he's sick. Secondly, was about the swearing in of Kindiki. So those are the questions that were supposed to be looked into. And this one, these questions were before. These were the questions that were supposed to be looked by the bench. Yeah. So those are what were supposed to be looked by the bench. So the person who has powers to empanel the bench is the CJ. And remember, by then the CJ was not around. What happened? The deputy CJ went ahead and empaneled the bench. And remember, the attorneys from Rigathi Gachagua side raised that question, and they contested it bitterly in the courts. So after 14 days, is what we are going to wait. We are waiting for 40 within the period of 14 days. We are waiting for the Chief Justice to empanel a bench. So if he empaneled the same bench, it means they will start it afresh to hear these cases again. You're muted.
Ben, is the funny thing, brother Ben, is that there were some people who were not very sure whether to go to Rigi G's side, and others
Mm,
were saying that the allegations against Rigi G were correct, and the court ruled against him. So that is the reason why they don't support Rigi G. But now UDA is going to be split even further. Those who are
mhm.
standing in the middle will now have an opportunity. The Chungwas have now an opportunity to join Rigiji. Yeah, with this pronouncement, those who wanted to join Rigiji can now join Rigiji officially and say, hey, boss, we were wrong. If the courts in Kenya have decided, then who am I to stick on the other side? Let us, wacha nikufe na ndugu yangu Bwana Gachagua. Yeah. So I don't want to be left out in 2027 because most of the MPs, as we are speaking, Bwana Ben, the
Yeah.
MPs who are not aligned to Gachagua,
Mhm.
chances are that they are not going to make it to the next parliament or senate. Is that
Yeah.
true? Yeah.
Yeah, from the look of things, because I think you saw in Embu, that was a typical example. Even after President touring the area, some of the members of UDA are still being heckled by the residents. What does that one
Mhm.
tell you?
It tells you a lot. Yeah, and I've seen other developments and which I need us to jump into
Mhm.
because time is really not on our side tonight. And
Yeah.
now, the issue of the youth, the Gen Zs, and the youthful leaders, the Kina Moraras, the Kina Kasumuels,
Mhm.
uh, the Gen Z's new alliance. I've seen
Yeah.
Morara and the new political formations around young people and other aspirants like Fanyamambo coming together. Yeah, I don't know whether you saw them giving out a press conference, and I've also seen Salasia going around campaigning to be a presidential candidate. All of a sudden, now Salasia wants to be the president, but rumors has it I've seen in some social circles that the government has really given out money to young people so that they can go around and the
Yeah.
campaign, and Salasha is one of them. Hmm?
Maybe for Peter Salasia, what I know, I think he came out and dismissed those rumors yesterday, and he said that okay, he has not gotten any money from the government and all that. But to me, Salasi, I think, is trying to consolidate, especially the Western Kenya, with the young people. That is what he is doing. I don't think he's going to run for presidency. He's just trying to consolidate the Mulembe nation, especially the young people, because he has this um, thought that for the longest time in the history, the Mulembe nation has been used by especially the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga, bearing in mind the numerical power that they have. You know, if you look
Mhm,
at the numerical, when you talk of the numerical power in Western
mhm,
Kenya, they do have it, but it doesn't reflect, especially when it comes to political benefits. So it's trying to say, okay, now let's come together as the Mulembe nation so that we can speak in one voice, so that when it comes to negotiation, especially in the national level, we can be part and parcel of the negotiation. Because remember, they've been complaining about how despite the fact the numbers when the juicy or when the cake, national cake is being distributed, they get less. And because they've been supporting the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Even right
Oh,
now,
mm.
if you look at the people who fought for the Kenya Kwanza, that was Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, right? But if you look at the power that Raila commands right now in the Kenya Kwanza government, you cannot compare to two of them. You can feel the effect. Raila called the shots.
And anyway, Raila, that is very, very true. And even look at now the numbers that Raila has in parliament. You cannot compare Raila Odinga and one Wetangula or Mudavadi,
Yeah,
who has got it doesn't even have a political party to begin with. Now
yeah.
the youth leaders are rejecting all party labels like ODM and UDA and those parties that have been there, the Wiper movement. They are rejecting this label. They want a single platform which can address their issues like unemployment, that is not really being addressed by these main political parties. Uh, I feel that the young generation, when I speak about the young generation, I've spoken to Morara many
Mhm.
times.
Yeah.
Sometimes we differ in opinion,
Mhm.
and I clearly understand him from where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Is quite new in the political game, and perhaps
Mhm.
might not know that you need some steps, some baby steps before you really start running strong. You start by
Mhm.
crawling, then you start by standing. In our
Mhm.
mother tongue, we call it, how do you call it, when the baby is trying to balance him or herself before start walking? It's called what? There's a song that your mother used to sing for you when you're starting to balance. What was the name of that song? How do you sing it in your language?
We call it Diedo.
Tandalala, tandalala,
Nyatio Diedo.
Nathio dia. Tunarudi za kale bwana, hizi vitu tunazijua. So
Mm.
and then they make the step, then they start running. So you
Mm.
you 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 don't just come into politics and then you start running and then you win a seat unless it is a revolution. So there's some steps they needed to make, and they are making the right steps right now. Kenyan politics is about coalitions. It is about coalitions, and don't forget
Mhm.
the tribal thing is still there. It's a
Yeah.
tag that is in on our necks. We try to shed it off as much as we can, but you can't do that by just the 2027 elections. It will take time. It will take another generation of Kenyans to really change tribalism that is affecting our, and it affects almost everything and the crop of leaders that we have. I totally understand the young people. I totally agree with their vision and their passion
Mhm.
to unite this country. Where they get it wrong is that when you come to this race and you are trying to fight somebody like Raila Odinga, and you try to fight Gachagua, and you fight William Ruto, you're fighting everybody else, and you're only one Morara or Kasamuel, you will not manage that fight. First, uh, these guys are coming into the game with a tribal backing. One thing that you have to know, they have that tribal backing. You are yet to create that alliance that you really want as young people, yet to
Mhm.
get a leader that you trust. But I'm seeing a decision that is directed, or some energy that is directed towards Matiangi by the young people. And they are saying that, okay, fine. There's nobody clean in the political system in Kenya,
Mhm.
but at least we have seen what this guy can do. Brother Ben,
Yeah.
what is the potential of Matiangi and the young people in in Kenya joining
You know,
hands to remove Ruto from power.
before I look at Matiang'i, and you spoke about majority of the people that we are speaking about, and even Mr. Ondiek, Honorable Ondiek was there, and I saw Fred Fanyamambo, I saw Makore, but I know Fred Fanyamambo because I usually watch his shows. He's doing an amazing job on the shows. But now, remember, when you look at where they are coming from, let's say, for example, you look at history how Morara started, because Morara came immediately after the Gen Z. We did not
Yes.
see him during the process.
Mm-hmm.
And what did Morara do? Morara decided to go after the ghost projects and what these projects has done. And remember how Kenyans trusted with that, because during that time, Kenyans were yearning for change and they wanted somebody who could come out to lead that change. And they contributed within a short period of time. He really got a lot of money from Kenyans because
Mm-hmm.
Kenyans trusted you. But what happened along the way? The
Mm-hmm.
issues started to emerge, the issues of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened with some of their friends, they departed ways. You know, after
Mm-hmm.
them departed way, he came and went to Rigiji. Yeah,
He went to
He-
Rigiji, yeah. Yes.
yeah. So after going to Rigiji, then a short period of time, Martha Karua, and even during the time when Martha was rebranding, Honorable Martha Karua was rebranding her party, Morara was there, and like he was somebody who was carrying the face of the Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what happened immediately after that? He started again to attack the likes of Rigiji, the Martha Karua, and the rest. You know,
Then
how
yeah,
how
that begs the question: why were you going there in the first place? But you know
how are
how
you
he has,
doing?
do you know how Morara
How?
has answered that question? Let me tell you
Yeah,
what he's saying about that.
yeah.
I went to one Rigiji, and
Hmm.
I realized that one, we don't share the same vision.
Hmm.
Uh, I listened to him. I heard what he was saying, but I realized that he's tribal. So his excuse is that one Rigiji is tribal, so he cannot work with Rigiji. And then
Okay.
I don't know what he says about Martha Karua, but I think he says it's the same thing. These are old folks. We need to change, the system. So that is
Okay.
what is driving. But you brought in Fanyamambo. I needed to just to add something on what you said.
Mm.
Among this group, Fanyamambo is not eyeing for the presidency, but is eyeing for the Dagoretti seat. One for is called this
KJ.
Dagoretti guy KJ.
Mm.
KJ, who has got money and he has forgotten that he used to act in ridiculous and they give us some
Mm.
informative kind of education on leadership. But right now it's all over his head. So Konyamambo is definitely going for that particular seat. And Fanyamambo, the only part about Fanyamambo that is playing politics and playing carefully is that he's very cautious in attacking the establishment, attacking people like Raila Odinga. Very,
Yeah,
very
because
careful.
he has
Very,
done it in a very intelligent way, by the way.
yeah, he does it in an intelligent way that even if he meets Raila Odinga for a cup of coffee, Raila will say, I think you're a nice guy. You can even buy on an ODM ticket and take up that seat. At the same time, he doesn't want to brush off Rigiji because he wants to inherit the Kikuyu block that is in Dagoretti. So that is a young man playing tribal politics, but in an intelligent way. He does not confront tribalism like nyinyi wa Kikuyu hatutaki mambo yenyu. You see,
My worry is, my worry is the
Yes.
background where they are coming from.
Mm.
Because as I told you about Morara, and Morara has lost some trust amongst the people who trusted him m- in on the earlier stages. Do you think now if he start to ask for donation, he will get the same money that he used to get?
No.
No.
It was,
Now,
we saw it coming. It was going to go that direction.
now come to Kasmuel Makoure. You know,
Mm.
yeah, Kasmuel Makoure. He was known in the street, and his oratorial skills
Mhm.
gave him the platform, and and the Gen Z or the millennials said, okay, this is the guy. And from the look of things, he could have been given the position of a party spokesperson, because that really would fit him. But along the way, what happened? He went to the ODM, you know. And if you look at ODM, you have to look at yourself and say that what impact are you going to bring in ODM? Yeah. You have to
Eh,
look at
chama ya
what impact.
baba, chama ya
Yeah.
baba. Mm.
Can you try and bring in young people to the ODM, and can you push for those change in ODM? And that one also lost the trust between the people that trusted him most, because like he was trusted with the people that he was with the street, and now you're coming back to ask for forgiveness. Do they going to ask for that forgiveness, bearing in mind even those young people are asking the questions of the broad-based government? What has really changed? What did you go to do, and what have you changed, and why are you now coming back to ask for forgiveness? That big trust, is something to ask about. Now come to our good friend Honorable Kennedy Ondiek. Kennedy Ondiek was in UDA, and he did a good job, by the way, in terms
Mhm.
of mobilization of UDA in Homa Bay. Let's give him to him. Yeah. But along the way they departed. And if you listen to how he used to reason, even when during the Gen Z, all that he said, and now, do you feel that trust, that the people who are going to trust him and say that now we are running against establishment, this is a very bad government? But everything that you are speaking about, these are things that people had already spoken. You're just repeating yourself.
Yeah,
You know.
what I think, maybe you are not seeing, and let me talk on Kennedy Ondiek. I've been studying these young people who are in politics, and especially the ones who are very vocal. So Kennedy Ondiek realized that okay, this is UDA, and I've been seeing positions coming in and going out. Young
Yeah.
people are normally very impatient
Hmm.
when it comes to leadership, and when it comes to positions. When they see the recycling going on in the party, that they
Hmm.
feel that they are being used. And
Yeah.
again, he was looking at what are his chances in Luo Nyanza, where he comes from, to vie on a UDA ticket. Now that William Ruto has decided to work with the leaders,
Hmm.
and is not working, William Ruto is not working with those who are not elected as leaders in Nyanza.
Yeah.
So technically, you become like flower girls within the party.
Hmm.
You become you are in a situation whereby you have got no influence in the party. So
Hmm.
what will the people, by the time we are going for elections and you want to vie, you need to find an identity that you identify yourself with. So
Yeah.
it came out very very fast from that block, because what
Hmm.
you heard Gladys Wanga saying is what Kinaundiek maybe had foreseen technically, that okay, this will be an ODM zone. Yeah, we
But
will not, and they can negotiate on the table and decide that okay, William, we came to this government. We are a political party. You
Mhm.
have got no right to demand our constituency. Likewise to us, we are not going to field anybody in Sugoi or Eldoret. That is negotiated, and it has
Yeah.
happened before. So,
And
yeah,
and
just go ahead.
something that we have to give it to Honorable Ndiek, yeah, to be very sincere with him, that guy, in terms of mobilization, especially for UDA in Homa Bay, he did a good job.
No, he did a
You
good job. He was very charismatic, and
is very smart. Another thing that I also have to give him kudos of is coming up with a political party, and that one is giving people an option to
to vie.
to vie
Yeah,
with.
if everything goes wrong in ODM, you have got a party that I'm the vice chairman or the secretary.
No,
Then
he's the chairman. He's the chair
oh,
of
he's
the
the
party.
chairman of the party.
Yeah, Odiek is the chair of the party.
Oh, Duke is the chairman. Then maybe
Maliba,
Ondiek
we have
Omera, I need a ticket.
Arnold Maliba. Arnold Maliba, I think, is the party leader. Then we have Ondiek as the chair of the party. By the way, he's the chair.
No, oh yeah, then that is a party that we need to be drumming a lot of support for, and telling youths to join that particular movement, because I think Ondiek is a good man.
No,
One thing I like about Ondiek is a down to earth guy. He's young. He lost in the election, but he never gave up. In politics, I always say that when you fall or when you lose, what really matters is what you do when you stand up. You know,
mm,
you dust your butt and you move on, and that is what politics is all about. So kudos, Bonondiek, and if you have time, you are welcome to Afrik to shed more light and the agenda of your party. That
I can connect you with him, and
No,
he can
yeah, yeah,
come.
yeah,
He will.
brother Ben, please do so. He's my friend on the social platform, and I see him commenting, but he doesn't know this is the real Mozalendo. So now we have talked about Kasamuel, we have talked about Morara, we have talked about these young people, and you they are now apologizing to the other young people that forgive us, we did a mistake to move so fast. Yeah, we make mistakes, and please accept us back. Now, Anifa, there is a group led by Anifa, and I think this is the only authentic Gen Z group that led the maandamano and remained intact. Anifa and group. Who
Yeah,
are they supporting?
the
Do you
other
know
time I
Anifa?
saw, yeah, and if I saw, I think like the other time it was being said that he's is aligned to Wiper. Um, when all Casimir was running the other side, and but I'm not sure whether that is true. But one thing that I can comment about the youths is I don't know whether they can come with their own political parties. Yeah,
They
so
they
that
have inject party, and they have Ondiek's party. What do you
no,
mean? No, they can. The inject party is there. Why can't they join inject?
the reason why the inject party, if there's a video that I did about the inject, because the inject, like when you're coming with a political party, especially as a young person, because we know the history of the political parties in our country. Anytime you write or you write a literature and say you own it, you use the word
I.
I. That one
Morara,
does,
kama unasikia, because I know he's listening. Kama
yeah,
unasikia, sikia maneno.
using the word I, especially in a political, based on the history that we know of our political parties, to me, it brings that it belongs to you. So it should be whereby you include the way we decided as the inject party, for instance, not I decided as an inject party. We,
And I
we
decided to be the inject presidential candidate. I
yes,
am the
I.
self-declared.
The
I.
I, the I shows that you control everything. And in a political party, you cannot be the chair, you cannot be the secretary. So that one is something that you need to look at. And again, you need to differentiate the page of the inject and your own personal page. because Page is an entity. The Index is an entity, is a political party. So
Yes.
they run their own
Mm-hmm.
affairs. If you want to comment, there are things that you can comment as a leader on your page, and there are those that when you're commenting in the Inject party, it should reflect the national issues. It doesn't
Mm.
reflect your own issues. You talk about the national things that are affecting the nation. So that one, if they do that, will be. And another thing also, you talked about the stages, and I know even like Fred Fanyamambo Africa knows this, on how our politics is run. The things that we cannot do away with immediately. It is a process,
Yeah, that's what I said. Baby steps. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
baby steps. You
Yeah.
know, we talked about the tribal democracy,
Mm-hmm.
whereby one of the leading factors of our election, or one of those issues that leaders talk about, is the presidency. That we need lazima tukue rais. Secondly is about tribe, because you will listen to even I listen even to the senator from Narok. He was talking about tribe, you know, and
Come
you
on,
look at,
Masai, Ma community. Ma
yeah,
community. Mm.
no, he was referring to another coalition as a tribe, but one of the driving factors of our tribal coalition, most of the time, it is being driven by numerical strength. That is what driving the coalition of the coalitions that we have. They look at it, what are you bringing on the table? And what
Mm-hmm.
you're bringing on the table will be equivalent to what you're going to be given. The the numerical strength you build, the lucrative post you get. The lesser numerical strength you bring, the lesser the post you're going to get.
You know, these young people, especially Marara, they have not understood the politics on the ground. Kwa ground mambo ni tofauti. When you go to the ground, Gypsy Corner, when you go to the ground, this is local politics 101. Ukienda ground, you study the ground. I want to give you a level of an MCA or MP. When you go to the ground to to hunt for those votes, I go to Brother Ben's village. There is somebody called a village elder. Yeah, the village elder in that area. And one thing I always ask as a politician, uh, which is the biggest clan in this area? That's you are looking at the numerical strength of that particular clan in that particular area. So if you have bagged the biggest clan, then you can look for the other small clans within that locality. That breaks down how our politics is managed from the grassroots, so where tribalism starts in the grassroots
Mhm.
and the nepotism. It starts from there. Now, what is the language that you speak with your locals? Brother Ben yesterday said that you see the Ngondowere son, he could not speak Doluo, which is mother tongue, and that is the language that people understand uko mashinani. So that is the language they will understand. That is the language that you will be able to sell your agenda clearly and articulately for them to understand. So once you move from that village structure of the clan, now you move upwards. Upwards meaning now you look at tribe and others. Others meaning people from other regions who are staying in that particular area, who are potential voters. Then you now look at how you can bag them up. So
Yeah.
if you are a presidential candidate, you have got your candidates who are vying on various positions at grassroots. They are the ones who mobilize for you
Mobilize.
this tribal support. This tribal support. These young people cannot act that simple thing. that it starts from there. Now, when you move in the upper scale to now government, where we want to form now the government, you realize that we have also devolved government that takes you back to the village, where you have an assembly, which is a parliament run by nearly a community,
Mhm.
people from the same region, same tribe, that constitute 99.1% of the assembly.
Yeah.
That is again tribe. So you cannot kill this with the 2027 elections. It has to start gradually. People like us with understanding will understand. Then we move to 2032. We kill it slowly. By the time we are moved, by the time I'll be in my 80s, then there will be no tribalism in Kenyan politics. But for now,
Mhm.
it is dying slowly. You will not see it. The only place that the Gen Zs will do so well in capturing the seats, if they are intelligent enough to know that they are intelligent enough to know that in the urban areas in Kenya, the urban
And
areas, yeah,
cosmopolitan areas.
cosmopolitan areas, if they can map out the cosmopolitan areas in Kenyan politics, and they have the brains, they have the data, they have the science. Nairobi, they can take it so easily. Mombasa, the same. Kisumu, the same. Will be a bit difficult, but they will
Yeah.
get some seats in those
Kis-
particular areas. Eldoret, the same. There's a likely scenario that they can get seats in those areas. So that is how you map Mr. Morara and the group. That is how you look at the election. Then you create a database of all your potential young voters, the people who are going to show up in on the ballot, and the potential candidates who can win those particular seats. What do you think, Brother Ben?
Yeah,
Even
that is one of the things that you've mentioned is about creating the database, and by creating this database, you have to come up with the demographics. Yeah,
Mhm.
and when you come up with the demographic, you will know who are our targeted audience, because like you look at the audience that you have. Yeah, and if you know, after coming with that, let me repeat, after coming with the database you'll come with it and put it in category of demographics. You know, after putting it in demographics, then you know that what messaging am I giving to this particular demographic? Especially, you're talking about young people who are very well versed with the things to do with the technology. So, which means most of your information and messaging will be through the technology. You know, then let's say that you're also targeting those like our grandmothers who back at home, because that one will be part of your database. How are you going to reach them, and what kind of message are you going to give them? Because the messaging that you're going to give the young tech up demographic is not the same as you're going to give the old, you know. And how again are you going to make sure that they are going to vote? The driving factors that we were talking about yesterday, what are these driving factors that can drive the demographic of maybe 55 to 60 years and above, and the demographic that is going to drive the 18 years to around 24, then from 25 to 35, then 35 to 40, you know. So, and with the different messaging, you know, and that one will make quite much difference in the voting pattern. That is one. Then secondly, what are the people that you want to vote? You know, the people that you are voting for. You know, it's not a matter of voting, because you want some changes to be made, you know, and those changes can only be made if those who share your ideas and ideology will be present in the parliament, such that some of the bills and laws that are being passed that are not maybe very useful or don't benefit the people but benefit the leaders. So those are the bills that you go there and say, no, we cannot pass this. But that one can only happen if you vote in people who share those ideas. But if you continue say that, okay, we are going to vote those who have been there before, then I don't think that is going to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very right. The issue of database, the issue of young people coming together and be organized to realize that yes, you can change the face of leadership in Kenya. But if you follow those steps that we have told you, now one, you need to understand that you cannot work in isolation like young people. There's no assembly that constitutes of only young people in parliament or in the Senate. Kenya will be the first example if that will be, but you need to look at minds that you can work with, who are not necessarily young as you may be, but they share the vision of young people and they realize the potential of young people and they look at them as leaders as and not as objects of trade, um,
Mm.
like what we have seen leaders doing to the young people of Kenya. They are being used to carry pangas and machetes to go for rallies and things like that. Let you young people not be used by politicians to cause chaos. Be an instrument of change and join other young progressive leaders who want change in their regions. But the issue of tribalism, as we have
Yeah.
said it has to start from we have started the movement already, but we have to make baby steps towards ending tribalism in Kenya, because devolved government is just a tribal entity in our political system that we don't know how to deal with it right now.
Mhm.
It has to
Mhm.
be there with us. So if you are going to elect leaders in your party and you are saying that, oh, my party is not tribal,
Mm.
everybody who is coming from your party comes from a particular region and is voted in by a tribe, all right,
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
voted in by a tribe. If they were going to be at the assembly, the representation that they are going to have at that particular assembly is tribe. If I go to where I hail from, the county assembly, they can conduct their business in mother tongue comfortably, and nobody will realize that it's being done, and
Mm.
probably they've been doing that throughout the year, conducting their business in mother tongue, and
Yeah.
they don't really care. So that is how tribalism has been entrenched into our constitution and our system, and we we still don't know how to get rid of it. That is why I agree with PLO Lumumba that the constitution needs to be
No,
reviewed.
why should
We
it be
have to
reviewed?
review the constitution. First of all,
Mm.
we can't have 47 counties, number one. Number two, we cannot sustain having 47 counties. Brother Ben, listen to this. Where do you come from? For example, where is
Where
your county?
I was born in Migori.
Where your county is in Mingori? Just say don't be embarrassed of your county.
No,
Your
I'm not
county is
embarrassed. I'm a Migorian, bwana.
You are a Migorian. You come from Migori. That
Eh.
is where you do a lot of nothing with this, with the money for pollution. There is a place in Migori. Do you know? I've traveled in this country, and there's a
Yeah,
place in Migori called Wathonger. Do you know that place?
yeah, I know.
Wathonger. Do you know why it's called Wathonger?
Wathonger.
Who are the inhabitants of that area? All right, that
Um,
is the question. Go do your homework. You
mm,
will find the inhabitants of that area, and
mm,
then come tomorrow and tell me, hey, brother Nick, kumbe
mm,
umetembea.
mm,
So that Migori area, for
mm,
example, and Homa Bay, the proximity
mhm.
from Homa Bay to Migori is approximately 10 minutes. Did you know that?
Uh, 10 minutes in terms of you're looking at boundary and which mode of transport are you using?
Boundary. I'm looking at the boundary. The farthest you can, it's 10 minutes or even 5.
No, it's not
And then
10
you
minutes.
reach.
It's here.
It's just there. Now, in the initial boundaries was that Migori, Homa Bay, and Kisii were called South Nyanza.
True.
South Nyanza.
Mhm.
If we maintained those boundaries, then it would be very. You live in a country where a governor who is in charge of a state is covering an area nearly the size of Kenya. Most of the governors, if you look at
Yep.
Texas, if you look
Mhm.
at California, and the economy of that area is even much bigger. So you would not talk about even the economy. The economy is much bigger, and one governor is controlling it. A state like California is number 4 in economy throughout the world. It's now the 4th largest economy in the world, and it is just a state. Now, Homa Bay, the South Nyanza, we would have only one governor. That governor would have been in charge of the South Nyanza province.
Mhm.
And we have one senator who is in charge of those areas.
Or two.
Or maybe even two, but just one. I don't know why you want two, because you have got this Kasumba in your head that
No,
47.
no. Nick, see.
No, no, just stick with
No,
one. You two.
let me
Just
correct
number
you.
two, they will
Let,
start
let,
saying, listen, if you
let
start
me
saying
correct
two,
you.
hmm,
Let me correct you, especially when you're looking for a senatorial. There are factors that make an area or a particular area to have like more representation. Yeah, and this might be because of what population. When you look at population, it's not like we are just trying to have two. When you look at the larger South Nyanza, now you have to give it, at least to get fair representation, you have to give them like two senators. That is what I think.
no, that is what we think, but my thinking is that that is not necessary. They let
Mm.
them have one. Let them
Yeah,
have
yeah,
one Senate, one senator, and also let them have one assembly. And that assembly will maintain the traditional headquarter, which was in Homa Bay. So we can have the provincial headquarters in Homa Bay, where everything is done in that particular area, and some devolved functions in Kisii. Yeah, we can have some
mm,
devolved functions in Kisii, some departments in Kisii,
yeah,
uh, distributed that way. So that way we don't have ministers being paid by the taxpayers. A minister for mining in Kisii, a minister for mining in Homa Bay, a minister for mining in Migori, and areas where there are not even a single mine. Wana mine kokoto peke yake.
mm.
Unajua, wana mine kokoto, then we have a tier minister for mining in Suba, sijui wapi. Mali wanatega tu samaki peke yake. So these are the things that needs to change. So
Mm,
you'll realize that at the end of the day,
mm,
the money that we are spending in terms of recurrent budget will go
mhm.
down drastically. Drastically. We don't need. Now look at the busy bodies called deputy governors. How kazi yao ni nini? What is the work of a deputy governor?
But
At the
to me,
deputy governor,
uh,
kazi yake is delegated by is given a job or some work to do by the governor. Yeye ni mtu wa mkono wa governor. To,
now I agree with you. I agree with you there.
hmm? Ati yeye kazi
Nimekubaliana na
yake
wewe.
anaenda. Then we have got all these speakers and all these ministers. Ukienda now in the village, you see a minister wa agriculture bwana ako na 4x4, ako na VX the latest ya 18 million ya 20 million. Alafu we have the minister for agriculture in the national government. Tuko na minister of agriculture, ukae ukijua tuko na minister CS wa agriculture. Yeye sijui kazi yake ni gani, kama kuna minister, hata they don't even coordinate. Do they really coordinate the CS wa agriculture in your village, in your county, na CS wa agriculture in the national government? And their salary is almost the same.
Leave about even coordination, because when you look at it critically, there are governments from different political parties based on your political party where you are strong. And remember when before the handshake, they could not talk. Even if a minister maybe is coming in your area, is a government official, but coming to launch a project, you say, no, sisi euka tukai. Yeah. So I think that is something that needs review, and there's also something that Julia is saying and all government officials should be paid according to qualifications, expertise.
Julia bana, let me tell you, there's a professor running the Ministry of Health. Do you have forgotten? And they were qualified in the medical field, and they were doctors, but they ran down a whole county. So hii mambo ni leadership, hakuna tio mambo mengine.
You see, now when it comes to maybe misappropriation of funds or maybe siphoning of money, that now deals with the integrity of a person.
Even if they are qualified and they are qualified na kuna madegree kutoka Harvard, bado ni wezi. Wewe ukae kujua Julia, former governor wa anaitwaje, former governor wa hii mahali inaitwaje, hii ya Kawera, alikuwa anaitwaje, Murunga, alikuwa anaitwaje huyu jamaa, Kiraito Muronge, Kiraito amesomea Harvard. Amesomea Harvard na mambo ya ufisadi hiyo county ndio maana alitolewa, ilikuwa ni mingi na ni msomi wa Harvard. We have Prof Anyang' who is running Kisumu County. Yeye kazi yake ni usafi tu, kazi yake ni kusafisha town ikuwe safi na kila kitu ikuwe safi, very very clean town, lakini hakuna hata industry moja ameongeza.
Well, that is my governor bwana.
Governor ni prof, ni msafi, ni safi sana, lakini hakuna hata industry, zero. Ukiangalia pesa Kisumu inaingiza na ile wanatumia wafanyakazi wako wengi kushinda ile pesa wanaingiza.
By the way, the largest market in Kisumu, Kibuye. I don't know what is happening because
Kibuye market, nilianza kusikia Kibuye lini? Kibuye watu wanatoka mpaka Uganda.
No, lakini kuna vita ambayo inaendelea kwa sababu huwa naona msuko in Kibuye market. I don't know what is happening in Kibuye, but it's one of the largest, especially in the Western Kenya region. And I think it generates a lot of revenue to the government.
Yeah, Kibuye generates a lot of revenue to the government, but you see now, how have they tried to tap into the revenue and even attract investment in that market? Samaki inatoka Kisumu. Boss, ukienda bali inaitwa hii beach yenyu inaitwaje hii bali watu wanapenda. Ukitoka Nairobi lazima uende hapo ukule samaki ndio ujue umefika Kisumu. Dunga Beach. Luang'ni. Inaitwa Luang'ni Beach.
So when did you go visit Kisumu? Luang'ni ilikuwa huku chini katolewa ikapeleka huko Saida Dunga bwana.
So Dunga na Luang'ni zimeshikana tu. Mali gari zinaoshwa ni wapi?
Si unajua ukitoka, unajua it used to be, unajua hiyo plot used to be
roundabout. Ukitoka pale roundabout una drive chini kidogo, ukienda pale kwa lake nini unapata
ulikuwa na access through Swan Center ukienda hivi chini, si ndio?
Yes.
pale ilikuwa I think ilikuwa Kenya Railways land. Unajua hapo watu walitolewa, siku hizi wamepelekwa huko side za Dunga.
Oh, Dunga, but Dunga is just along the beach line. Pande
Yeah,
hiyo
so
ingine.
especially ukitoka Dunga then unakuja Dunga Hill Camp, then ukienda na chini kidogo hapo ndio siku hizi wamehamia.
Haya, sasa hebu niambie brother Ben, kwa hivyo wewe unatoka Kisumu, hebu niambie ni science gani ile mko nayo nikitoa samaki pale Lake Victoria pale nikileta kwa meza kutoka pale kwa lake na nikileta kwa meza ya hoteli ni karibu 10 meters hivi. Hiyo samaki nainunua 3000 na nikifika Nairobi samaki mwenyewe nauziwa 300.
Na unajua kenye kinashangaza sana ni kwamba hata samaki ambao zinaliwa pale sidhani kama most of them zinatoka huko Luanda Kotieno, ama zinaweza toka
Samaki inakuliwa Kisumu inatoka Port Victoria.
Port
Inatoka
Victoria.
pale Port Victoria. Inatoka Port Victoria na zingine zinatoka kwa hizo island zile ziko kwa lake kina ile island ilinyakuliwa na Waganda. Ndio. So unaona mimi nataka kuniambie sayansi ile iko pale ama ni hesabu gani Wajaluo wanapiga na hii samaki. Hii samaki kanatolewa pale kwa lake. Kakitembea tu na mtu kidogo kaweka kwa mafuta, hata hajatumia mafuta yoyote kuileta na gari nini, imekuja na boat mpaka kando ya hoteli yako. Inauzwa 3,000.
Mzalendo, you know one thing that there's what we call
hiyo ni uizi bwana.
No, hiyo si uizi. Kuna what we call the demand and supply. It will depend.
Demand na
the law of demand and supply. You have to apply the law of demand and supply.
So the demand is very high.
Yes. So what are the prices going to do?
Very high. So you hike the price because people have got no alternative.
No, now you have to obey the law of demand and supply. That's what is happening. Yeah, that's what is happening. Yeah, you have to obey that demand because that is business.
Mumesikia wale wanakulaga samaki kule Julia wauliza nini bwana, and the government officials should be paid according to qualification. That is what is in the government structure. Ukifanya kazi kwa serikali kuna increment ile unapewa each and every year, a percentage of increment unapewa according to your qualification. Ukiongeza qualification tena unapeleka pale HR, unaongezewa increment according to your qualification. That one is always there, Julia. It has always been there. It will always remain. Hata mahali hata kwa structure ile kitabu employment book ile unampatiwa kidogo ya serikali zinaandikwa vile increment yako itakuwa mpaka siku ile itafika mahali sasa haiwezi ongezeka tena. Ni hapo ndio umefika kama uko job group J, job group H, job group nani, hizo ni qualifications zote. Ndio maana kuna P1, P2, P3 teachers katika serikali. So that is something that has always been there. And the government is really has continued to implement it. Now wadau, wacha nikumbuke wadau, tunafika tamati katika kipindi cha Africa 24. I hope mumesikiza brother Ben na yale alisema. No mzalendo. Okay, haya ndio sasa, hizo ndio maswali tunataka. No mzalendo, MPs and cabinet secretaries are not paid per qualification. MPs and so what is the qualification of an MP? What is the qualification of an MP? Qualification of an MP. An MP has got no academic qualification as at now in Kenya. MP ana academic qualification. Cabinet secretaries has got a qualification, and they have got a structure. Yes, cabinet secretaries, the way they are paid their salaries according to their qualification. MPs have got no education qualification. Lazima tu ukuwe umefika form 4 ama
Yeah.
form class 8 ama class 3
What,
unaweza
what,
kuwa.
so like no, I think when you have to vie for a member of parliament, form 4 should be like the minimum, the least. Then I think MCA doesn't. MCA I think should be the MCAs. Do they have qualification? The MCAs.
Boss, nakwambia hizo vitu zote, hata president hakuna qualification.
No, you have to have a ile age is among the qualification for you to run for.
Age
You
is
have to
not
be a Kenyan
there.
citizen, or you're talking of
Nionyeshe
academic qualification.
mahali age iko.
You're talking of academic qualification, or what? Maybe Julia is talking about academic qualification. That was Julia is talking about.
Academic qualification.
Yes,
To be
if
an
I'm not
MP,
wrong.
you don't. Yeah, to be an MP, the academic qualification is secondary education.
Yeah. So and I think that is what Julia is talking about. Like, you should be paid according to um.
That knowledge, there's nowhere you are applying it.
But let me ask you, if you have cabinet secretaries, for instance, or permanent secretaries, and they are in the same job group, because all of them are PSS in all government
Now,
departments, lady,
now,
or how
wacha
does it work?
nikusomee
Mm.
wacha nikusomee the basic requirements of an MP as a 2025 must be able to read English and Kiswahili. Julia, lazima ajue kusoma English na Kiswahili. That is the qualification. Educational requirement as per the Act 2021 amended must hold a post-secondary qualification recognized in Kenya,
Oh,
obtain
okay.
at least 2 years of study. This was a compromise after attempts to require university degree, which were rejected by parliament and courts. Sasa hiyo mambo ya academics was rejected. So remember, their salaries are regulated by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. As for the county assembly members, the requirement is the same. Hiyo nayo ilikuwa suspended. Requirement zao was suspended until 2027 elections. So that one definitely will take place. Itakuwa same na the requirement of the MPs.
By the way, I think the same qualification that is being applied for MP should also apply to the members of county assembly, because all these are legislatures.
Yes, that is the thing. So the standard measure is for the court ruled that unasikia, you only need a secondary education.
For what?
To be an MP, a member of parliament.
No, because sometimes it requires legislation.
This is what the court ruled. I'm reading for you what the requirements are. That you need the basic education is English and Kiswahili. Must hold a post-secondary qualification recognized in Kenya after at least 2 years. This the compromise, yeah. The court attempts to require university degrees, which was rejected by parliament and courts as discriminatory and unrealistic for all the candidates.
So let me ask you, because when you look at county assembly and sometimes on how it is being treated, like the qualification for it, you say that it is only Form 4, or where are the qualification for county assembly?
the county MCA's member, the qualifications of the MCA member, the requirement for a post-secondary qualification was also suspended. They needed to have had a university degree, yeah, but that was suspended until 2027. All right,
Okay.
unanielewa? So, guys,
Na-
if you've not subscribed to Afrique 24, make sure that you do subscribe to Afrique 24. Follow us on our pages. Follow BM on his social media and Brother Ben's on media. And of course, Afrique 24 on YouTube. Please make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you share the link on your WhatsApp pages if you like this particular show. If we have kuteleza kama Julia anajaribu kutukosoa hapa, then
Yako sawa.
Julia yuko sawa, jaribu tu kutusemesha na pia sisi tutakusemesha, tukuambie yale tunajua katika hii mjadala. Hapo unasemaje? I mean they should be paid the same, pay as their counterparts in the civil service, yani all degree holders, same pay, whether teachers or MPs. Yes, I agree with you. There is that, and that is why you see university lecturers pushing for more pay, because they want to reach that cap here, and doctors pushing for more pay because they want to be paid like legislators. That is why there's a problem there. That cap and ule mtu wa mabling bling kale shenzi yeye jamaa kotu, kazi yake ni gani? Minister wa labor, kazi yake ni gani? These are the CS who should try and see if our MPs feel the pinch of the economy, and as SRC, Salaries Remuneration Commission, continue adding them salary, wananchi wa kawaida nayo wanaumia. Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya akaye akijua MPs wakiongezwa mshahara, sio ndio watu wanakasirika na ma-MP. Ukiona watu wanakasirika na ma-MP na watu wanataka kuwatemea mate, na watu wakata wakihaga dunia, watu wanafurahia tu, ni kwa sababu hao ndio wanasikia vizuri zaidi kushinda Wakenya wengine. Hao ndio wanakula mshahara mzuri, hao ndio wako na benefits mzuri, hao ndio wako na magari mzuri, hao ndio wanachukua matenda za serikali, hao pia ndio wanatunyang'anya warembo.
Hiyo si kweli.
Hao pia ndio wanachukua mabibi zetu bana, hao pia ndio wananunua, hao pia ndio wanaweza kufanya ile mambo. So watu wakikasirika nao wako na haki ya kukasirika, kwa sababu hao ni class war, ni the haves and the have nots. Kizungu inasema the haves and the have nots. Kiswahili nasemaje?
Kiswahili
jaribu hiyo.
Ama inaweza kuwa walala hai na walala hoi. Walala hai na walala hoi. Julia she's a teacher. She can tell us the walala hai and walala hoi.
Julia hajui Kiswahili bwana.
What do you say bwana?
Julia bwana, huyu ni
nani? Nani unasema nini?
Msikia akiongea hata Kiswahili hata siku moja.
Unajua they are all trained. They are trained.
Wewe nakwambia, hebu muulize hiyo swali. The haves and the have nots, Julia, na Kiswahili ni nini?
Sasa kwa Kiswahili unaweza sema wale wanacho na wale hawana, si ama hiyo unataka kusema hiyo si Kiswahili? Si bora tu
hapa tunaelimishana, wasio nacho na wale wanacho.
Si ndio nasema kuna walala hai na walala hoi,
those who have and those who have not. So wewe uko pande gani? Juzi anasema what Julia knows is perfect Kiswahili bwana. Sasa sisi tunaongea lugha gani? Gypsy Corner tunaongea lugha gani? Tunaongea lugha gani dada? Anasema sisi hapa tunajaribu kuna Kijaluo tunajaribu chadho Kiswahili, lakini hatufiki kiwango cha Julia. But anyway, ni lugha lazima tukienzi lugha chetu cha Kiswahili. Niliona marehemu Mondoweri akiongea Kiswahili bwana, karibu unaweza lia. Kuna ma-MP wakiongea Kiswahili unaweza toroka
Unajua hata Kiswahili yenyewe tukiangalia historia ya kweli kabisa, Kiswahili si tuwezi sema kwamba ni lugha kabisa, kwa sababu ni mchanganyiko wa Kiarabu na Kiafrika. Hata ukipata Ijumaa, Jumamosi,
angalia Julia tafsiri yake, nikwambia huyu hajui Kiswahili hata kidogo. Mabwenyenye na maskini mabwenyenye ni matajiri
na maskini
mabwenyenye ni the rich,
na maskini
ni the poor.
Umaskini ni nini kwa tuseme kwa Kiingereza? Umaskini
poverty.
Yeah. Haya, umefanya vizuri. Sasa swali langu inakuja, nataka kukurudisha nyuma na kulingana na historia za Kiafrika na laini, ukifafanua poverty ama umaskini, labda tuseme kwa Kiingereza, poverty ni nini?
Poverty na Kiingereza ni ukiishi sehemu za Kenya kule, ni ile hali ya kudhoofika kiasi kwamba hauna kazi na hauna hela zaidi ya $1.
Okay, sawa. Jambo
hiyo unaweza kuwa classified kama maskini.
Okay, sawa. Basi kwa sababu umezungumzia hela na tuseme kwamba wealth ni nini kwa Kiswahili? Wealth, utajiri. Uko sawa. Sasa inamaanisha, kama unaweza nipata, ukiangalia katika desturi na mila za Afrika watu walikuwa na utajiri na utajiri haukukuwa ni pesa. Utajiri wa Afrika wengi walikuwa wanaiangalia, moja ilikuwa ni shamba, pili labda ilikuwa ni zile wanyama ambao umefuga nyumbani, tatu ilikuwa wake na watoto ambao umewazaa. Utajiri hayo. Lakini baada wakoloni kukuja, wakaleta mambo ya maskini, na umaskini inamaanisha kwamba ulikuwa hapa awali ulikuwa umesema kwamba ni ukosefu wa hela. So kwa undani zaidi ni kwamba umaskini haikukuwa Afrika, na umaskini ni mambo ambayo imeletwa na ukoloni mambo leo, kwa sababu inatoa maana ya kuwa kama una pesa basi wewe ni maskini, lakini unaweza kuwa uko na shamba, uko na hayo yote ambao watu walikuwa wanaangalia zamani, na uko na utajiri. Sasa unaweza kubaliana na mimi kwamba ni umaskini ni mambo ambayo ililetwa na ukoloni mambo leo?
Hayo ni maoni yako brother Ben. Hayo ni maoni yako
ndio nakuuliza mimi, ni maneno yangu. Lakini nakuuliza, unaweza kubaliana na mimi ni kwamba ni maneno ama ni tamko ambapo ililetwa na ukoloni mambo leo? In other words, kwa Kiingereza tunasema is a borrowed word from colonization or the colonizers.
Haya, soma hiyo Mswahili bana.
Utajiri wa kweli upimwa si kwa kile ulichonacho, bali kwa kile unachotoa na athari inayochocha katika maisha ya wengine, unayoacha katika maisha ya wengine.
Yeah.
Sasa hiyo ndio utajiri.
Hiyo ndio utajiri. Hiyo ndio utajiri, ni kuweza kuifafanua kwa ukina. True wealth is not measured by what you have, but by what you give and the impact you make. Wasikia?
Hizo ni
Wealth is not
filosofia.
about having a lot of money, it's about having a lot of options.
Though that is philosophy. That is philosophy.
Yes. That is what wealth is all about.
No, mimi unajua, mimi nilikuwa nakuleta kwa mazingira za babu zetu. Mazingira za babu zetu. Ukiangalia babu zetu, vitu ambazo walikuwa wanaangalia kama utajiri.
Tukirudi nyuma, brother Ben, umesema vizuri sana. Babu yangu alikuwa ni mwanabiashara. Alikuwa anatoa mzigo kule Tanga, analeta Kenya na meli na boat zake. Walewa. Alikuwa na mabibi, hiyo ni utajiri. Na alikuwa na mang'ombe, hiyo pia ni utajiri. Na alikuwa na shamba. Ukiangalia ukoloni hiyo umerudia ukisema wakoloni walikuwa wamekuja wakanyakua ardhi. Kuchukua hiyo ardhi, Waafrika wa Kenya wakarudisha hiyo ardhi walikuwa wamechukua, wakajipatia ardhi. So wakati huu utajiri wa kiongozi ama utajiri wa mtu, hizo miaka zimekuwa, si kukuwa pesa ile uko nayo katika account, lakini ilikuwa ni ardhi, kiasi gani cha ardhi uko nayo, kiwango ya kiasi gani cha ardhi uko nayo, ndio ilikuwa inaonyesha utajiri wako. Ukienda sehemu zingine hawakukuwa na ardhi kubwa sana, lakini ng'ombe zile unamiliki ndio zinaonyesha utajiri wako, na wanawake wale uko nao kwa boma ndio inaonyesha utajiri wako, na vile pia umekomaa kijamii. Na unapata kwa hafla zingine, wewe mtu wa bibi moja au ungeweza kukaa ama kushauriwa kwa jambo lolote, kwa sababu wewe hauna ile utajiri ama una ile uwezo ya kukaa na wale walio matajiri, wale wana bibi wengi. So hiyo ni desturi ya Kiafrika na vile tulikuwa tunaishi, waelewa? So ni hii utajiri kwa kila mila. Ukienda saa hii for example, wacha niongee katika mila ya Wajaluo na ni compare na Wakisii na Wakikuyu pia. Wakikuyu ni matajiri kwa mali, kwa pesa uko nao kwa mfuko na kwa biashara. Wajaluo ni watajiri kwa ardhi, lakini hana pesa kwa mfuko. Maskini ule yuko pale kwetu, ako na at least ekari moja ya shamba ama 2 ama 3, lakini hana hela kwa mfuko. Ukienda Kisii the same, kijana ako na biashara yake anafanya, lakini hana shamba miliki. Shida yake ni shamba, lakini ako na uwezo wa kununua, lakini hiyo area hawana shamba, zimeenda zote. So kwa kila jamii kuna utajiri, kuna vile unaweza fafanua utajiri kwa njia tofauti. Bila shaka brother Ben, tumepiga masaa mawili katika hii kipindi, tumepitisha zile masaa. Sisi tunataka kuona hizi show zinaisha kama tuko na ujumbe tumepatia wa Kenya. Tutaki mashow zinaenda sijui 5 hours 8 hours, ati 8 hours utakuwa unaongea nonsense. So tunataka kumaliza show on a very light note and an interesting note. Kesho nafanya nini bana? Ndugu yangu, tukimaliza
kesho itakuwa ni vigumu, labda Tuesday morning.
Sijakwambia uje show, nimekuambia najua unaogopa show. Sijakwambia uje show, nimekuambia kesho unafanya nini asubuhi ukiamka.
Kesho hali ya kawaida, kwa sababu kesho saizi naweza sema kwamba ni hali ya kawaida ya kutafuta. Unajua, ukiamka lazima utafute.
Wewe wajua ni saa ngapi? Saa 8 usiku.
Si ndio nakwambia sasa hakuna kesho. Sasa nasema leo asubuhi itakuwa ni
saa 8 usiku huku bwana. Saa 8. Julia, tumeshukuru sana kwa pale comment section. Gypsy Corner, asante sana, tunashukuru vyema sana sana sana. Watu gani unaweza wasalimia kule nyumbani? Hebu tuma salamu kwa watu 2 watatu wale unawajua.
Mimi ningependa hako kutuma salamu kwa ndugu zangu wakiwa kule sehemu za Mikori. Napenda hako kutuma salamu, na ningependa pia kutuma salamu kwa Gypsy Corner. Kila siku mimi namwambia asante sana, na Mungu akubariki baba. Mungu akubariki na kubariki na kubariki na
Alright, hata mimi ningependa kutuma kwa salamu kwa ndugu yangu Bwana Tyrus akiwa kule Lupita. Ninasema tunakuombea kila laheri popote na kila kitu unachofanya. Ningependa pia kutuma salamu kwa kule ndugu yangu akiwa kule Tennessee, anaitwa Sir Charles, anajua yuko katika, anatusikiza kwa makini sana. Brother Charles, tumekushukuru sana. Na ningependa pia kutuma pole zangu kwa familia ya rafiki yangu Bwana Geoffrey Mburu. Amepoteza tena brother yake mkubwa akiwa kule Nairobi. Geoffrey tena amepoteza brother. So tukae na familia ya Geoffrey kwa maombi. Hii imekuwa ni too much. Baba baada hajazikwa tena, ndio huyu, na juzi tena tulikuwa kwa na matanga ya mama, na sasa tena tuko na matanga ya nduguye Geoffrey Mburu. Geoffrey Mburu mnamunaga hapa katika hii Africa 24 akikuwa kwa mjadala, na on behalf of the Africa family, on behalf of all the people who watch Africa, tunakupatia pole zetu, na Mungu awapatie nguvu katika huu muda wa maombi, muda wa morning, na pia mkuwe na siku njema, na tutakuwa pamoja mpaka mumalize safari yenu. Ni hayo tu katika Africa 24, and I hope that you will have a nice and wonderful Sunday. Kama unaenda kanisani, kama mimi nina masaa 2 nitakuwa katika kanisa, and naona condolences from Julia, you can reach out to Mburu, umtafute, umwambie manze pole sana nduguye Mburu. You can also tell other people on your platform that this is what is happening to one of our own. So asante sana. Asante Benson Kennedy, thank you very much. Donald Kimaya, thank you very much. Brandon Ayara, asante sana for tuning in to Africa 24. Nyinyi mumekuwa mashabiki, and if you have not subscribed to Africa 24, make sure that you do so. Hii ndio mwisho ya mawazo, na tutazidi kukupatia show tamu kama hizi umeona ya leo. Haya, kwaherini na muwe na usiku.